Hi guys, welcome to this very first video that we are recording together with the three of us. Myself, Amber Booth, my partner, Lewis on the other side of the camera, and Rachel, my very good friend who is joining us from Holland today. We are very, very excited. This is the very first time that we're coming together to record a video like this, and we wanted to share a little bit of our personal experiences with you that all have to do with the purification process of the womb space, so the sacred womb. Um, I want to share a little bit with you about why we actually want to create this video. We usually have these talks between the three of us. These are late night conversations that we have on the phone, late night conversations that my partner Lewis and I have in bed sometimes. And we just thought, how amazing would it be if people could also listen to whatever it is that we experience, whatever it is that, we maybe want to share with people. So we thought, why not record a video and share some stuff with you guys as well. So we're very, very thankful that you are listening. I think we also want to set out the intention that this information reaches the people who it's supposed to reach, that it will resonate with the people who are ready to listen to this conversation and who are possibly ready to do the work themselves as well. So that's the intention that I would like to put out for this call. First of all, I just want to check in with you guys on the other side of the camera. How are you, Lewis, darling, on the other side of the house? I'm here broadcasting from the from the garden space, and you were set in our living room, so we just thought it was easier to do it that way. How are you, darling?
Yeah, I'm amazing, absolutely amazing. I got the comfy spot, so I'm happy. uh, yeah, all's good, all's good. There's a lot of movement going on right now. I think everyone can agree on that. There's a lot of energy coming in, so yeah, happy to jump on this call and happy to talk about this because it's become such a massive part of our lives, all of our lives. It's changed our life massively. So yeah, happy to be talking about it, and it's the right time for it.
Yeah, definitely. So true. We've been waiting for that for a long time. So I know both of us are very excited.
Yeah.
Rachel, how are you? Everything okay over there in Holland? I know we just had King's Day yesterday, right?
Yeah, we did. It was very busy here in the country. It was very, very nice. So, yeah, we speak a lot about the womb space. So let's do it on camera, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's what we said. So, yeah. Okay, guys, let's go ahead. So, what I thought we'd do is we have prepared a little PowerPoint for you. So, both myself and Lewis have prepared some slides to introduce you a little bit to what the womb space is. And then we're gonna connect to Rachel, who has been bringing some pretty incredible information for it over the past couple of years, actually, that we also want to touch upon. They all have to do with something that you actually see right behind her already, the sacred womb oils. So, but before we jump into that, I thought it might be a good idea to touch upon how the three of us know each other. And they're pretty amazing stories, actually. So I'm sure that Rachel will maybe mention some stuff in her part of the presentation today. Maybe Lewis will tie in a couple of lines here and there. But I thought it would be good to share it with you from my perspective as well. So Rachel is a very good friend of mine, a soul sister, really, who I only met a couple of years ago, right? Through a shared friend, Crystal, a friend from us in the Netherlands. And Crystal was talking for a couple of years already to me and to Rachel, and we didn't know each other yet, but she said like, oh, it's so interesting, guys. Like, I have this friend, her name is Amber, and or this is what she was saying to Rachel. I have this friend, Amber, and she is studying the law of one teachings, and it really sounds like you guys are interested in the same stuff. I think you guys should meet. And then on the
Yes.
other side, right? Yeah, definitely. And it didn't happen one time. She just kept on mentioning it. And then on the other side, she was sharing the same information with Rachel and giving her the same, idea to get into contact with me. So eventually that happened after a couple of years of having heard the same story over and over again. And Rachel and I finally met through Instagram, I think it was, huh, darling? Yeah.
Yeah, I sent you a message. Yeah.
Yeah. He said like, hey, Amber, I'm Rachel, the friend of Crystal. I've been hearing so much about you, you know. I think it's time for
Yeah.
us to meet. So we arranged a meeting with our friend Crystal together, went to Amsterdam, had a nice lunch right in the city center,
Yeah, we did.
beautiful location there, and we kind of hit it off from the start.
Yep.
And with Rachel and me getting to know each other, there was, I think, a deeper level of our spirituality being awakened. I have been interested in spirituality, like obviously for some time already. Sorry, I was just opening my phone. Interested in spirituality for some time already, and was kind of doing my research into my own subjects. I was kind of interested in the Law of One, following some mystery schools in Holland. Was on the priestess path at the moment, so yeah, kind of following my own guidance in that. And I think it was only when Rachel and I met where we really like started to go really hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We made a quantum loop, I always say, in our
Definitely.
experiences.
Definitely. It was just like all of a sudden, you know, like all of these things that we had to go through individually, you know, and that we had to process. And I mean, like, obviously, I think all of you listening know this. If you're on the spiritual path, there's a certain period in your life, you know, when people start to come into your field, you know, where people just start to magnetize to you and start to resonate in your field as well. So I guess both of us had that, you know, to some extent. But then when all of a sudden there was a soul sister there who everything could be could be talked over with, you know, that just like yeah, expanded our spiritual growth massively. So all of a sudden we had someone to ask questions to share concepts with. I know one of the first things that we wanted to research together, Rachel, was our cosmic history, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we are still studying it.
Absolutely.
Endless.
Little did we know that when we started researching that cosmic history, that it would actually open up so many doors and so many, yeah, internal remembrances being triggered of who we actually are as cosmic beings, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, there was it's a never-ending story, but that's a different thing. Um, so yeah, I just think it just massively amplified my spiritual growth. So I'm super, super, super thankful to be connecting to you, darling, and to working with you, and just to have you as my soul sister, really. So yeah, it means the world to me. So thank you for doing this with me.
Exactly the same. Likewise. Mwah.
Yeah, love you. It was actually interesting because a couple of maybe a year down the line when Rachel or since Rachel and I met, we started to get introduced to a group which was called the Flame Holders. And it's a group that we are all still in. From our beloved teacher Becca B, who is in Spokane, Washington, in the United States. And yeah, we were just like really accelerating through her practices. Becca is an amazing guide and an amazing teacher who had studied the Law of One for like, I think maybe 20 or 30 years now, right? And she was just like kind of bringing everything together. So she was going into our chelantic materials, the Law of One. She was guiding us to all of the work of Lisa Renee, of Ashia Dean. And we actually started to journey with her. And that's also where Lewis came into the picture because Lewis was one of the flame holders in the group. And I think we've gone a pretty long time, Rachel, without actually knowing Lewis, right?
Yeah.
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 I think, yeah, maybe we've been in the same group for, I don't know, about definitely half a year.
Yeah, I think it was half a year. I was stealth in the background, just doing my thing, you know. And then, yeah, I think then naturally we all started getting closer. So, yeah. And I'm so glad we did, yeah. Life's changed since.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So happy. So we were when Louis and I met, we first met in a retreat in Glastonbury, where Rachel and I were. And after that, Louis and I became a couple. Sometime after that, not straight away, but yeah, we kind of grew to fall in love with each other, and yeah, opened some big doors for ourselves personally over there. So if you're wondering, like what that connection is, there it is. So yeah, that's basically how we all know each other. There are some more, like threads of the story, because obviously, like everything always connects together, but we will weave that in as we go along in today's presentation. We actually received some very important spiritual guidance for recording this talk, and it was one of our beloved teachers, Swami Sri Kaleshwar, who has been coming, I think, to all of us in the energetic fields. And he had also been coming to me personally the last couple of weeks in my morning meditations to ask us to start putting his material and some of the stuff that he brought to humanity out there on the internet. So that's why we are actually recording this video today. And the topic is connected to our sacred womb. So our womb space, our womb chakra, the cosmic womb, everything that has to do with the womb, and really remembering what a beautiful mechanism our womb really is. So I would like to take you guys on a journey, and I'm going to present my little PowerPoint that I have. Okay, so we are going to walk together through a little introduction about our womb space and what our womb space actually is. So I know most of us are used to looking at our womb space like a physical place in our body. Obviously, that is connected to birthing, and it's a physical organ that we have in our body. Um, but it's also a very, very big, actually the biggest energetic power center that we hold in our bodies too. And it's held within every single human being. So the womb space is actually a living creative field center of manifestation. So you can see it as a manifestation chamber that we actually have inside of our own bodies. So when we think of that, we start to tap into some of the functionalities that the womb space has. And one of the things that the womb space is really, really connected to is that it's a cosmic hard drive of the soul's history, as I wrote here in the presentation. So what I said here is it's the mirror of your soul's reflections. So what I mean with that is that the womb space actually functions as a sort of storehouse of the soul's records. So you can look at it like this, that all of the old emotions that we have ever suppressed, like maybe grief, betrayal, unworthiness, sadness, anger, all of that, that it's all recorded in our womb space. So if you think of, like all of these things being stored in there, you can already start to see why it's so important that we also heal our womb space eventually, or that we look into how we can heal our womb spaces. But we also know that the womb space is connected to all of the energy that we have ever shared with other people in our lives. So what that means is that we actually become energetically entangled through our womb space. We become entangled to the people who we've had interactions with, but also to all the people who we've ever shared sexual energy with. And it's not only people that we shared sexual energy with in this life, but also people that we shared sexual energy with in past lives. So if you think of that, it all of a sudden becomes crazy to realize, all of the information that our womb space actually holds. Is there anything that you would want to add, guys, to that?
No.
No, no, you flow on.
No, yeah, yeah. So I just think for me that was one of the craziest things to start to realize. Like, oh my God, okay, so I'm experiencing all of these things in my life that I'm trying to break through, or that like all of these blockages that I'm trying to jump over. That I want to rid myself of. And I don't know how, and I don't know why these things keep blocking me, or I don't know why certain things keep popping up into my field. But when I started to understand the importance of the womb space, it was like, okay, so that is where all of our karma is stored. That is where all of our entanglements are stored. That is where all of our emotions are stored. Oh my God, it starts to make sense why I can't birth anything into creation, or why I can't, I don't know, see my real path yet, or all of these other things that we want to manifest into creation for ourselves, right? So for me, it was the biggest aha moment when I started to realize. But anyway, okay, so that's what our womb is connected to. But our womb is also connected to a mother divine, and to something which is called the womb of all creation. So there's actually a place where we can tune into Mother Divine and her like creative power and her spiritual energies. So that's the connection that we hold to the creative life force itself, as sort of an energetic template through which life comes into manifestation and enters form. And it's like the feminine architecture of creation. You can see it as the universal field of which we all emerge, like a universal intelligence, at a place where all souls are held, and then all souls can be dissolved there. And that's also the part that is connected to the place where souls are reborn through. So it's a huge and massive portal, really. So if you look at that, like, and connect that back into from the cosmic womb of the mother to our physical womb in our bodies, we actually start to understand, if that's the place in our bodies that is so, so connected to Mother Divine, and that amazing place, like that magical place of all creation, we start to understand why our womb space itself is also such a crazy mystical organ, really, because on a biological level, our womb space is the only organ in our body that actually regenerates itself every single month. So that's like a little bit of magic that is happening inside of ourselves without us actually noticing that it's going on. So it just shows our connection to the divinity through this, I think. The womb space. It's a portal also to the 13th dimensional mother arc, which is the core to the earth. And that's where the connection field and the connection to Mother Divine actually comes in to our earth plane. So that's where we can connect into it in the easiest way. And I know all of us do that every morning in our meditations, right? So basically what we've been taught, and some of the stuff and some of the practices that have really accelerated our spiritual growth, was working with the Kalantic materials as well. Huh? So I know all of us place all of this knowledge of the womb into a broader context of the Law of One teachings that actually teach about our multidimensionality, and where all of that really sits in the mechanics that go behind creation. And so we activate our 12th dimensional shield every day, and from that connection, when we have put on a protective field or a protective energy around us, we usually connect into the crystalline core of the earth, where we find our first anchor point to the Divine Mother and to the Divine Mother frequencies, right? So just wanted to point that out as well, that the 13th dimension is very, very connected to the womb space and the Cosmic Mother's womb as well. So here at the bottom of my PowerPoint, I said, when your womb space is cluttered, we cannot tap into our powers. So because the womb space is so, so very much connected to intuition, to creation, to inspiration, whenever, all of these karmas and all of these desires are still, fluttering around in that energetic field, it's just too crowded to birth anything that is really in alignment to the cosmic light into creation, or to align to the cosmic intelligence into creation. So when it's cluttered, we cannot tap into our true organic inherent powers. And when we progressively learn to clear our womb space, it can become a magnet to actually draw in the people into your life, to draw in the inspiration in your life that we've been looking for such a long time. And we can draw in intuitive power. Well, actually, everything actually. When we have a purified womb. So I just wanted to point that out as being very, very important, that when our womb space it's cleared, it becomes a magnet for remembering our multidimensionality as well. So yes. Okay, moving on to our next slide. Just going to slide my little window here so I see what I'm actually saying. um, and that's about sharing. And I know you guys will also do this later on in our talk today. So share a little bit about your personal journeys with the womb. Maybe, guys, by the way, it seems like I'm talking a lot here and Rachel and Lewis are a little bit silent, but that's because we divided our talk into 3 parts. So I will be talking now. And in a bit, Lewis and Rachel will talk. So that's how we structured it, just so you know. So I share a little bit about my personal journey with the womb. So I have always been in very, very, very abusive relationships. And although I don't want to, say or connect this to being part of my identity, or anything like that, or although I don't really want to associate with it, it's also a part of who I am and who I was, that I don't really want to deny, just because of the fact that it holds such importance in my story, and also because I learned so very much through that. So you know what they say, right? That usually the hardships are what, make us grow and make us remember who we really are. So that was definitely, part of my personal journey as well. So I was always in very, very abusive relationships. I think I was always, like a person who was looking for love, if you will, like wanting to be loved. Although I had like the most amazing family around me, the most amazing friends. I always felt like really, really empty on the inside, that I was looking for something and I didn't know what it was. And with that came an external search, for searching for love outside of myself. So I think from a very, very young age, that was actually one of the default programs that I activated in my external behaviors. And with that, I always met like the wrong people in my life. So whether that were, like people that were unavailable, or that were relationships that were like, just like cluttered with chaos. And, like, I don't know, just like very, very unaligned, if you will, just like very unaligned relationships. And then after that, I also started to get into more abusive relationships. And I think the last years of my life, the last 7 years of my life before I met Lewis, were actually totally connected to that, to being in a mentally and verbally and sometimes physically abusive relationship. So my main goal was really to get out of that. I just thought, okay, what is happening here? Why can't I be like everybody else? Why is there always such an amount of drama that is happening in my life? Why can't I just get up in the morning and be, like devote my energy and my time and my inspiration to what I want to devote it to? So I just had so many questions, and I never really realized, like what it was that was happening. But I did know, like that my relationships were very abusive, and they gradually continued into yeah, becoming more and more abusive as I wasn't getting the signs, that my womb space was actually blocked. So yeah, anyway, what I also felt was that my creation or creative energies were actually very blocked. And I realized that because very early onwards in my spiritual journey, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I learned all of this stuff about spirituality, like this is it. This is what I want to devote my life to. I need to tell everybody about this. So I started to record some stuff, putting it out on the internet, blah, blah, blah. And I was facing all of these creative blocks where, like I couldn't catch hold of the energy that I was trying to jump on. I couldn't get my projects off of the ground. So all of these blocks in the creative energies were really being magnified. And yeah, so I took note of that as well. And I knew it was something like, okay, so if my creational energies are connected to my womb space, there must be something there, but I have no idea how I'm going to work with it. So, um, actually, one of the things that happened in my personal journey with working with the womb, was that I was actually already like introduced to how some women work on the priestess path with womb work. So there were some practices that I was doing through an ancient Aramaic priestess school connected to Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. And I, heard about the ways that they worked with the womb space, tagged along in some of the purification processes and everything. But it was always like this little voice inside of me that said, like, no, that's not how you are supposed to purify your womb space. Not knowing, obviously, what I was going to walk into, but and that happened afterwards. At a certain point, I had a session, and this was still very, very early onwards in my journey, I think, or in my journey with the womb. So I think maybe this was somewhere around like 2 years ago now, maybe a little less. I had a personal session with our coach in the United States, Becca. And in that personal session, Becca started mentioning about a event that happened in our cosmic history, which is called the Eyani Massacre. And this was one of those moments in my life where I like my mind was blown, and it was like such a deep soul remembrance that was being triggered inside of me, like, okay, this is what it is, this is what is going on, this is part of my story, this is part of what I'm here to work with, this is part of what I'm here to harmonize. So yeah, there was something that was triggered in my field there. And just to give you a little heads up about the Ayani Massacre. So the Ayani Massacre is an event that happened in our cosmic history. So according to the law of one, our collective cosmic history goes back to 950 billion years ago, where our 15-dimensional time matrix that we live in was first seeded. And was connected to the Andromeda Mother Galaxy back then, but we somehow ended up here in this universe where we're in right now. But that's a different story. The Iyani massacre fits on that timeline somewhere when you look at the period of 22,326 years before Christ. And it's an event in cosmic history that is very much connected to our forced breeder programs, where actually the feminine solar goddesses, who were the original divine feminine women who birthed into manifest creation, held the original womb codes and were connected to the original womb fields, and also knew how to work and work with the womb chakra and the womb work that we are sharing some information about with you today. Sorry, I'm always mixing up my prepositions in English, so that's the worst. Correct me if that sentence didn't make sense. What I wanted to say was that timeline is very, very connected to those original feminine solar goddesses who held the original womb creation codes. and who were eventually abducted by the Thotian Anunnaki groups, and who were actually used for their powers. So as soon as Becca started to share about this with me, I thought like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. This is why I feel all of these creative blocks, you know. This is why I've never managed to birth something into creation. This is why I'm facing all of these energies that, you know, like hold power over me in the relationships in my life still right now, right? It just all made sense. So she explained the multidimensional aspect of what she could read in my records. And then I tied it in with my earthly experiences and my blockages that I was facing in life. So yeah, it just was one of those things that really expanded my mind. So looking at that Assine massacre timeline, one of the things that they tried to do in there was, because these feminine solar goddesses were incarnated on the earth, one of the things that the negative alien alliances wanted to do was to disconnect us from our powers of creation. So they wanted to disconnect us from our womb spaces. So what they did was they used like a lot of alien technology to clone our womb spaces, to invert the divine creation mechanics, and to actually basically use all of that to also suppress the creative powers of humanity, and connect us from the divine feminine energy on its own. So very big storyline. Yeah, so when I started to realize all of that, you know, I started to understand that, okay, you know, like I have been searching for, because I was at that time, I was really searching for, okay, how can I harmonize my relationship with the divine? How can I connect into, you know, connecting to Mother Divine more? I was working with a model at the time, which was called the 7 Assine Mirror. So I just learned that, you know, like there is a mirror that the Essenes talk about, and it talks about, you know, the reflection that our earthly parents hold. So our mother holds a reflection about how we have, how our relationship with the divine feminine is on the inside, and our father holds a mirror that reflects how our relationship and our connection to the divine masculine is on the inside. So when I started to realize that timeline had played such a big part in my own personal cosmic history, so to say, I started to understand that this was actually the story that had been playing out through all creation, and that it even tied in with, you know, the repetitive stories of the suppression of the divine feminine, the fall of the Tiamat timelines, where actually already the earth grid that was connected to Earth's mother's body's consciousness got fragmented, was being once repeated again. I realized this was a story that was being repeated throughout our cosmic history. So, you know, the suppression of the divine feminine goes so far back. It's just like the same trick that the negative alien agendas, who still try to hold power over us, you know, the draconian races, the Anunnaki races, all of the races that are connected to that. What they want to do is they want to suppress the divine feminine, because they knew the women and the priestesses held the portal to creation. You know, they knew that the womb space was the connection to the portal of creation, and with that came immense power. So I started to realize that, oh my God, I've tapped into this personal timeline here, but oh my God, it goes so much further back. So yeah, I just realized that it was such a massive story that we all were touching upon, and I personally also was touching upon. So um, at that time, Becca also started talking about working with purifying the womb space. And as soon as Becca said that, I thought, oh my God, yes, sign me up. My womb space is going to get purified, and I'm going to do it with you. Please show me how. And that's actually when we were introduced to the body of work that we want to be sharing with you today, and when we were introduced to Swami Kaleshwar's work that I will be touching upon later. So, two more things that I wanted to mention. One was a big thing that I actually realized, like, okay, I kind of already had a routine, where I was kind of doing my practices, and I realized, like, okay, maybe, like, spiritual growth really lies in the everyday doing of things, the everyday connection to connecting to the cosmic energies. So I had like a little baby practice there, maybe like 30 minutes, like an hour max, like I was trying to amp that up. But Rachel was a big inspiration for me actually, because she was at the time doing Raja Yoga. And she had been doing that for like 3 or 4 years, maybe at the time. So her practices were, like through the roof. So she was meditating for 2 hours and devoting so much of her time to working with purifying her own energetic systems that I thought, like, oh my God, Amber, step up your game, So I realized that my routine needed to be built out. So yeah, that's really when we started um, working with the cosmic channels again, because that's what the womb purification process and all of the teachings that Swami Kaleshwar has brought through are connected to. They're connected to activating our cosmic channels again. And I see here I wrote cosmic changles. I mean cosmic channels, of course. So I started working with the cosmic channels, and we did that. We were guided in a group, in the group of Becca, and she laid out the structure to us. In how we had to do that. So she said, like, okay, so you're going to start by working with a mantra that we have, a mantra that is for, like purifying the womb space. There were some other processes and practices that we had to do alongside of that. Maybe Luz or Rachel will touch upon them. But anyway, we started to integrate that in our daily lives. And I think both Rachel and I started at the same time. Lewis was a little bit later. He joined the group a little bit later. But as we did that, a lot of stuff started happening. So, like all of these things started to come up in our lives, like old patterns started to resurface again. I thought I was doing this, to purify my womb space, not to be repeating some of the patterns that I've seen all along. Not knowing that that was how it worked, but okay. Eventually what all of this did for me was it made such a big, a massive change to my life. I would put it down to, like the Kelantic teachings and all of the womb chakra technologies, and doing them at the same time for them, to amplify each other. But definitely also working with the womb. It took me some time to go through all of this. I think it takes maybe like a year or so to go through the whole process, maybe a little less. Lewis, how long, darling?
I think the initial round was 6 months, generally like 6 months, but I thought to myself at the time, 6 months and that's it. I can stop this intense spiritual practice, but then you realize, oh no, that's just really the start of it. That sets the foundation. So yeah, it continues way after 6 months, and it never stops really, So it's all part of the journey.
No, so true, 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 true. So, okay, so let's say initially 6 months, to work through the whole process of the womb purifications. And what I also just like to do is to put that into context with, like, okay, the vastness of the understanding of what it actually is to be purifying our womb spaces. I know there's so many teachings out there that talk about, we're gonna do an activation and then our womb space is gonna be cleared. Yes, definitely, that can definitely work. And yes, you can go to a retreat or work with, like priestess lineages. Absolutely, learn about what the womb space is. But just to give you an idea and an understanding of what an amount of work it is to actually, like deeply energetically clear the womb space, you are looking into a process that will take you 6 months as a minimum. Not to scare anyone off, because, we just have to take it one step at a time, but just to show, how deep our karmic imprints are. And also, if you think about that, like if it's all the stuff that is connected to all of the timelines, all of our incarnations throughout our cosmic history, that's a lot of stuff to clear. That's a lot of emotions that have been stored there, a lot of karmic imprints, a lot of sexual partners, throughout all of our lives that we had. So, it's a lot of stuff to clear. Um, so as I went through the process and eventually came out at the other end of it, it was crazy. What I started to see in my life, I'm so super incredibly thankful for that. Most of all because the abusive cycles in my own life ended. And I know I touch upon it really lightly here, but it was just a living hell that I was in for like 7 years, for the last 7 years before this. It was just like waking up every single day, feeling suppressed, being shouted upon, being screamed at, being spit upon, being physically, touched. That was really living through hell. So most of all, I'm just so super thankful that I managed to work my way out of that, so I can be sitting here today with the most loving partner in the world, with my good friend here in the world, talking about this with with my best friend in the world, sorry, my good friend in the world, talking about this. That would have been something that I was never ever able to do if I wouldn't have gone through this whole process. So, and what I like to share with you guys is that this can happen in any area of your life. So for me, all of that, played out in the relational field, like in being in an intimate relationship with an ex-partner. But this can be related to all of the repetitive cycles that you see really in your life. It can be connected to money, it can be connected to freedom, can be connected to the place where you live. It ties into so many different aspects. So it's not only relations, but it's so much more. And last but not least, my connection to the divine also got reestablished again. Whereas before I was just mainly being guided by synchronicities, and following my intuition towards what I thought it was that I needed to do. Now all of a sudden, there was also some other abilities that started to come online, like this is something that actually like has only been happening the past couple of weeks, but that's that my third eye has been opening. So my inner vision has been turning on. One of the things that was very, very down the line for me to open. The connection to working with my own higher aspects of self, the spirit teams, the guardian races that we connect to, building a beautiful and loving relationship with our teacher and our guide Swami. So, yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Can't wait to hear your stories as well in a bit, Rachel and Lewis. But first, before we go there, I want to touch on a little bit of who our beautiful teacher is. Oh, my slide is not moving. 1 second. Yes, there it is. And this is the guy that I can't wait to introduce to you guys, because this is Swami Sri Kaleshwar. And he is set here at his ashram in India. And here he is decoding and looking at some of the ancient palm leaf manuscripts that he found. And these are technologies that are being used to harmonize and purify our womb space. So I don't know if you guys, if there's anything that one of you guys wants to share about this, about the technologies, or Lewis, you maybe?
No, just to mention that primarily sound technologies, so they're using the frequency of sound to harmonize you to higher levels of consciousness within different dimensional realms. So yeah, I think that's just an important thing to recognize. We're using the power of our own voice, and that what we've suppressed for so many years, so many generations, so many lifetimes. But yeah, we're getting to get in contact, get in connection with that again, basically.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And also when you think about that, it's super important to realize that once we start to work with mantras and all of the teachings that he's translating here in this picture that we are seeing right now, it's important to understand that, these were like the people who brought these teachings down. They could see from a different perception. So they could see the geometries behind structure. They could see, what was happening in the creational fields, and whatever they saw, they translated onto paper and left in these manuscripts for us. So if you think of cymatics, right? of, how frequency moves and vibration moves and, geometry moves into creation. We see that they're all interconnected, and that's how we are learning to use these technologies to harmonize our own energetic systems inside again to resonate with the original frequencies that they were supposed to connect into. So yes, so that's Swami. And he's working here with two of his Western teachers because one of the main things that he was emphasizing was that it was so super important that all of his knowledge would be spread to the Western world again as well. So you see him working here with two of his Western teachers when he was already in his ashram and had everything set up. Okay, so what I have here for us guys is a little video about Swami Kaleshwar and about his Penukonda ashram, and is one of the teachers that is working with his materials as well. And he gave a little introduction video to who Swami was and a little bit about his life story. So I wanted to share that with you because I thought I couldn't see it better myself. So I'm going to stop our screen sharing and I'm going to share my YouTube screen with you guys so we can have a look at this little video over here. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alrighty. Okay, let's go.
My name's Paul, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Swami Kaleshwar. He was an amazing saint, and I was blessed to be able to spend 14 years of my life living in India at his ashram in Penukonda. And his life story was at a very young age of 14, he had visitations of Shirdi Sai Baba, a great saint. And in addition to that, he also was instructed and guided to be able to begin his dharma or his purpose in life, which was to spread the ancient knowledge from the palm leaf manuscripts in India. And it was at a young age that he began this amazing journey and had experiences of Mother Divine, Shirdi Baba, and many divine souls. His amazing capacity to be able to take knowledge from thousands of years old palm leaf manuscripts and to be able to decipher them so that it can be synthesized and brought into formulas and processes whereby he would bring mantras, yantras, and processes that would allow his students to be able to have experiences of the divine, darshan of mother, darshan even of Jesus. In his lifetime, he was able to bring his students to that level. And it was really an amazing time to be able to witness and experience various different yogas, having divine mother darshan, to be able to communicate and connect to a divine soul like Jesus Christ. That was his legacy. So what does that mean to us right here, right now? Those mantras, those processes, those yantras are available through dozens of Sri Kaleshwar teachers throughout the world.
Stop sharing and now I'll just stay out of that for a second. Tin, 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 tin. Yeah, so I just thought that was an amazing video to share to give us a little bit of an understanding about who he was and what it is actually to be introduced to these teachings and his way of working with the womb space. So, yeah, I think that was what I wanted to share for now. And I would like to pass it on to Lewis because I know he's going to expand on everything that I said right now. It's going to explain a little bit about, how we can work with the womb space and
Okay, yeah, I'm just going to share my screen. Just give me a minute.
Mhm.
Okay, everything's okay on your end?
Yeah, Perfect.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to share a small bit about my journey with the womb chakra process, and a little bit about actually what it is, and a little bit about the elements, because the elements are actually part of the womb chakra process as well. Getting in tune with the elements runs via mantra, runs via the side of what is the womb chakra process as well. They're both kind of one thing. So yeah, the elements and the womb chakra process are the foundation, and that's what they literally have become for me. And I've spent many years on this kind of spiritual new age kind of journey. I woke up in 2012, so it's been a long, frustrating process for me where I've been consumed by spirituality, but not necessarily felt that connection, or that two-way connection. So for me, that's been a long journey, and it's only really really taken off since I started all this process, and this become the foundation of it. And I think everybody's probably guilty of consuming spirituality outside themselves. And for me, that was, watching YouTube videos of people channeling, or seeing other people actually with these psychic gifts, and then kind of thinking to myself, why haven't I got that? So then I can become consumed by actually watching people talk about that sort of stuff, instead of actually getting on with the process. And in my life, I had many morning practices that I went through, cycled through, that change every few months, but I never had anything concrete that actually did anything or got results, until I got in touch with Becca again, who she mentioned earlier. And I knew instantly that was the work that I had to do. It was just something, a knowing inside. So yeah, when I didn't really fully understand the process or what it was, but you just kind of throw yourself into these things with that knowing that this is the path, and that's what it was. And through that journey, everything started to open up, really. Everything started to change. So what the actual journey is, just to touch on it lightly, it is the most simplest journey ever, really, in a practical sense of doing it. It's physically waking up in the morning and doing mantra. And mantra is you are counting for, you're saying certain Teluguan sound tones and mantras that for a count of 108 counts, should I say, and you're cycling through that each morning, and there's a particular sequence to actually doing that. And that sequence is setting a vibration within your field to align you to something bigger than that yourself. And within that process, by the time you've done that process and you are connecting with a womb chakra mantra, and you're connecting with an elemental mantra one at a time, this is what's clear in your system. It's the sound tones, it's the frequency that's clear in your system. So what actually happens in that process once you start that is, as Amber said, emotions start coming up. Lots of emotions start coming up. And I personally think my journey was kind of mild compared to some people's journey, and we've all had a different life. So no two journeys are exactly the same. But I'd say for me, it was more about emotion, and I think what was coming up was the areas of my life that was being highlighted. It was where I have cut myself off from that feminine aspect. So yeah, as my inner world was kind of releasing all these suppressed emotions, all connected around the feminine, my outer world was reflecting that, and I was having relationship troubles. I was having memories come back from my childhood, obviously to do with my mother and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, these emotions that was coming up, it was pretty funny, really, because they'd come up and they'd bring tears with them. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, I'd start crying like a baby, really, for about 10 minutes. And then after I'd cry like a baby, I'd be laughing my head off. I'd be in such a great mood. So it was like I was being the observer on my own journey, I was witnessing what was going on. But the more you go into this, you understand the actual process itself, because, you know, it's a step-by-step process that always gets explained to you, so you know what's going to come up on that pathway. It was like you could feel the emotions that were coming up to be able to transcend them, but you didn't necessarily have to buy into them again. And I think a lot of times in our life we end up looping round in these emotional kind of states that we get ourselves in, and we get the mental aspect involved, and it makes them way more difficult to deal with. So being this observer in this kind of process was a big thing, because it just means, yeah, you can transcend them a lot quicker. So on that journey, we kind of have a lot of perception shifts, and that's what changes your reality.
Oh, sorry. No, I wanted to ask you one thing when you were sharing about that. I think it was also around the same time where you actually realized that you had a very big connection to the divine feminine, right? I don't know if that's something that you're going to touch upon, but
No, I can mention that here. Yeah, I've had a lot of chart readings done, galactic soul chart readings, and that highlights where your cosmic history is, and it highlights what the wounds are that you come into this life, what you come to work on. Also, what's called stellinations, what stellinations you are actually connected with. And a lot of my stellinations within one of my charts is connected to the feminine serpent line, and that's all the tantric energies. So it makes complete sense that, again, this suppression within myself is connected to the feminine side as well. But yeah, so I'll move on from that now, just on to the next one. So yeah, we're talking about the womb space, and men also have an energetic womb space. And I think some men will feel resistance to that language because it's not something they normally connect with themselves. But doing energy work, for me, it makes complete sense. Everything is born through a womb space. So it makes sense that if we come out of the womb, that we've also got an energetic womb ourselves. And as Amber said earlier, this is the creation center, which can be blocked from many karmic imprints. So I don't need to go back into that. And it connects to the Mother Divine, and that affects obviously every single feminine relationship, either within yourself or within your outer world that you live in. So purifying that center as a man is a totally different journey to purifying it as a woman. But the results are exactly the same. Basically, it's a liberation, because all those cycles that you go in, as Amber mentioned, you start to see the back of those cycles. And for me, I started to get in touch with that feminine aspect of self, and it just opened up so much. And pretty much all energy work is basically learning to balance the masculine and feminine energies within yourself. And then once you go out into life, life's more harmonious, essentially. So I just want to touch a little bit on what the process actually did for me, and some of my kind of history. And again, it's connected to previous lives. I went through sexual abuse when I was a child, and so I held around that space, that first and second chakra space, a lot of, let's just say, stagnant energy. And this process actually helped me clear that. And you can layer it in your spiritual journey. I'm sure you get many tools and you can layer them on top of each other. But that foundation that I set from doing this mantra and bringing that frequency into my body, I know for a fact that that was one of the main kind of parts of my spiritual journey that freed me, literally freed me, and made me feel energetically clean around my first and second chakras. And that freedom in my body allowed me to express more. And then when you allow yourself to express more, you allow yourself to be seen. So there's many parts of my life where I've always wanted to take the back seat. So when it comes to standing in front of the crowd and talking and using my voice and dancing and anything that allows you to be seen, I was like, whoa, okay. I'll let somebody else do that. I'll let a Leo person do that. But no, as time moved on through this practice, I found myself challenging myself to be seen and challenging myself to stand up, to dance, to do the things that I'd not done before. So yeah, that's kind of was a huge thing for me. So it's actually unlocked a lot of creativity and joy. And joy actually, for myself, I think joy actually comes when you give yourself permission to express yourself. So that's been amazing. And the best thing is my spiritual practice, because that time in the morning or at night, or whenever you do your practice, whenever it fits in your day, it becomes actually one of the favorite parts of the day. Mantra became my foundation of the day, and it's how I start every morning. And the frequency it sets, you notice if you don't actually do it. Your whole day feels totally different if you don't do the mantra, which are connected to this process. So jumping on to how it changed my work and my daily life, and during this process I've been in, it's all kind of released my soul path, my purpose for being here, and part of that purpose for me is working with the tantric energies as a Kundalini activation facilitator. So clearing my womb space has basically made my energy transmissions a lot deeper, because I'm connecting to that feminine aspect, connecting with the Divine Mother, more clearer. It's a clearer channel basically to be able to bring that through, which is reflected in the clients I work with. So the energy just keeps getting stronger and stronger as my connection to the Divine Mother actually gets stronger. And yeah, we kind of along that journey, I mean, at first when I started doing the practices, I get these little short intense moments of feeling that connection to the Divine Mother, and it's so strong when it comes in. It literally makes you want to chuck yourself on the floor and bow down, and then tears of actual joy, devotional tears of joy kind of come in, and love and all those feel good feelings. And it's really strange to feel that, and I don't think actually most people know that that's available to us all. So that's a huge thing. And they're the little bits of those little brief moments are the carrots that keep you going through what is repetition, essentially. Repetition of, maybe some people find it boring, but I don't find it boring because it brings a frequency in your system. So I want to touch a little bit on the element side of things, because like I say, this is the accompaniment alongside the womb, and what we're doing is trying to actually connect with the elements inside ourselves. So yeah, the elements are not just outside in nature, they are inside the body. And our body is made of atoms, and atoms are individual units of elements. So at the deepest physical level, we are elemental beings. And everything in creation is conscious. So that includes the elements, that includes the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom. That includes the stars, the sky, the sun. Everything literally in creation is conscious, and everything is made from elements. So it makes sense that when we work with this technology, we've got to connect with the elements as well, because they are what make up our reality. And again, I think it's another thing most people don't actually know. You can build a connection to the elements, and that's within and without in nature. And I think the flow state, I don't know if anyone's actually into the sport, no matter what industry or even life, everyone's hit a flow state at some point. And for me, what that flow state is, it is connecting to the elements. It's for a brief amount of time. The kind of egoic mind disappears for a minute, and you actually connect with the consciousness in the elements in your environment, and you're actually in a flow state with that. And you just, whether that's in movement, whether that's in art or whatever, it's just connecting with that flow state. And I think the best kind of way to highlight that is within the martial arts kind of scene. And Bruce Lee used to do this, a 1-inch punch, I think they call it. And energy doesn't really, distance doesn't matter to energy. So whether it's a long distance or a short distance, energy is just energy, and it's powerful. Martial artists actually use the elements to fight or to dance, however you want to describe that. The martial artists are actually using the elements rather than just kicking and punching each other. So now I just want to talk about the body, basically, and the three layers, or the three primary layers that make up our body and also our identity. Now, we are multidimensional. We have layers within our system, are multidimensional, that we hold a connection to within our auric field. So here, what you're looking at on the picture is a human body with our chakras in the middle, and the three bands of frequency, which are the three primary layers, what makes up our identity at this level in this kind of first harmonic universe. And the first layer is the etheric body, which is a dimensional D1, which is dimension 1. The second layer is the emotional body, and the third layer is the actual mental body, but they're all kind of work in unison with each other to make up our identity. So yeah, the deepest physical layer connected to the elemental and atomic structure of the body is an elemental layer as well, and that's connected to the root chakra, which is connected to the subconscious mind, and that runs our autonomic nervous system. And our D1 layer is a storage vault of information. It's a storage vault of memory. So just like the womb is a storage vault, we have these different centers within our body, or these different chakras that hold certain memory, and the D1 layer of your body as such holds the ancestral history, and that again is planetary, galactic, universal and cosmic. It's a lot of history, and that's held within your DNA. It's held within the elements that make up basically your genes, basically your gene code in your DNA, and that stores both polarities. So it's all the good stuff, all the joy, the creative expression, the treasured memories, the family, but it's also all the trauma, the wars, the oppression of human history. Now, when we go on to the next layer, which is the emotional and also an elemental body or elemental layer, this is connected to the sacral chakra, and that's where around about, and this is where addictions and creative expression are actually either suppressed or allowed to flow. And I talked earlier in my story about it was more suppressed within me, but that's connected to the instinctual mind, and the instinctual mind wants to react. So reaction is the key word. So this is where this kind of layer here is where we emotionally program ourselves, and that could be shame, guilt, fear, abandonment, many other types, or could be love, connection and safety. It all depends on our own journey, our own life and how we got there. So we've got that storage vault in D1 layer, which kind of meets the emotional layer in D2, and we start to pattern ourselves basically. And if you've got all this stored history in this D1 layer, in your elemental kind of structure in D1 layer, and it's not very nice stuff, you're going to start patterning yourself with emotions that are not great and that are not for your highest alignment or your highest conscious and awareness. And this is, then we move on to D3 layer of our identity, and this is our so the D3 layer is our ego, which you could say is our epigenetic overlay, and this shapes our physical reality. So it's the I, it's our identity, who we think we are, or you could say it's our I am presence. And this egoic mind that's shaping our perception, it's also shaping our behavior, and it's influencing the epigenetic signals that switch our DNA on and off. So it's absolutely massive. So if you think of the memory from our D1 layer and the emotional patterning from our D2, connect that with our mental body, and it's our D3 layer, then we can see basically how us as human beings begin to struggle because we're bringing these memories that are kind of seeping through into our system. We're creating a pattern around them, and then we're creating a mental loop that we kind of live in repeating cycles over and over again, and we never actually begin to clear that. But at the base of all that basically is the elements, because the elements make up our physical body, and they make up all reality. So what we're doing, we're actually recoding those elements with sound technology. So now you can see where it ties back into this womb chakra and elemental process, because we're using sound to change the frequency of our consciousness, and it's all connected with different layers of our auric field. So again, there's that picture, but a more expanded version, showing that we're actually a multidimensional being, and we hold what is like a 15-dimensional blueprint to our body, but it kind of individuates at D12 layer. So we have all these layers of our auric field that all need repatterning basically, and the way to do that is through sound. So now we can see that it's actually an opportunity to work with these mantras that Sri Kaleshwar brought forward, because this technology, these spiritual technology, was lost for many, many, many years, and these sort of things only get released basically to the general society around ascension cycles, when we're in a spiritual activation cycle, or should I say at the end of a yuga cycle, where we're entering the light. The light is part of the yuga cycle again, and that's when these technologies get released to us again. So it's actually a gift to be able to know about this and to be able to work about this, or sort of work with this. So again, this is literally using vibratory frequency repatterning to reprogram ourselves at an elemental level, and it's using this technology, what we're talking about today. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I will pass the stage back to you.
Oh, thank you. That's really amazing. I think it makes so much sense, like how you brought all of that together for us, and also emphasize the importance of, working with the womb space, but also doing that in conjunction with working with hooking into the elemental streams of consciousness again, and purifying them. So thank you. That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, guys. I think actually it would be a good idea to move on to Rachel. And actually, Rach, what I would want to ask you, first of all, is what was actually your first introduction to working with the womb chakra technologies, with the womb mantra, maybe even to the sacred oils? Yeah, because I know you'll also be sharing a little bit about that today. So what was your first introduction to that?
Well, my first introduction to the womb mantra and to the sacred oil. Well, let me begin with the sacred oils, because that is what led me back to the womb mantra, or, it's all intertwined. Because back then I was at a point in my life where I had been fully devoted to Raja Yoga, like you mentioned before, for now over 8 years. And my focus was so sharp that my main goal was simply to meditate daily and practice samadhi, the pranayamas, the pratyahara, the kriyas, whatever. That was my daily job that I did, and I didn't feel the need to look beyond that or to learn new mantras or teachings. I was content with the philosophy that I already knew. And of course, I was with our teacher Becca B from Soul Based Life, or I had some teachings from Alice Bailey or Ashana Dean, Lisa Renee, and the Raja, of course. But the Maya likes to play and have fun. So you invited me to Glastonbury for a Mary Magdalene retreat with the oils, like you just mentioned. And this was actually our first trip, right, Amber?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I was there flying in from Amsterdam to Glastonbury, and then suddenly standing in a small essential oil shop called Starchild, and I stood there and smelled the senses and felt the vibration of the oils, and I truly came into contact with essential oils for the first time. So in a single instance, I saw multiple timelines where I had already been working with these sacred oils. Well, you know, I didn't know what happened with me in Glastonbury, but this was the starting point before I worked with the sacred womb mantra, and before it came on my path. So I first needed this initiation to be open for the next, and because there was some birthing process coming without me knowing it. And from that moment on, you know, when I was stood in the wing in the shop, from that moment on, when I stood in the shop, I was in love with the essential oils, and I knew these oils would be my life work and my mission. And now I come closer to answering your question about how I first encountered the womb mantra, because not long after Glastonbury and learning about sacred oils during the Mary Magdalene retreat, the path led me to Cyprus with you to do grid work, you know, with the Elisa Renee, her grid points. So we were there, and after this, we went for Aphrodite's Beach. And when we were on Aphrodite's Beach in Cyprus, it was so beautiful over there. And there was a rock. And I immediately know in the sea, I had to swim to that rock in the sea. And as I hold on to that rock, information began to flow through me. And it was just 1 week before I heard about the womb mantra for the first time. So I was there in the sea, in communication with Venus or Aphrodite, or that energy that was there. And I call it the ancient mother. I call it the womb energy, actually. And while I was still holding that gigantic rock, I received a direct instruction from mother and the water and the elements. And it was swim back to the shore, find a white stone of at least 30 centimeters wide, big, and climb to the cliff for an activation. So we both did it. We both hold our stones and climb up the cliff. And so there we were, standing on that cliff, holding a large white stone like an egg, like a dragon egg, pressed against our womb. And we began to sing the frequencies from the Crystal River in Anohasi. And at that moment, we didn't know the womb mantra yet, but if we knew it, it was just a few days from that. So I felt the presence of the Divine Mother so strongly that I said out loud, when I was holding that rock, I don't know yet exactly what I meant to do, but I feel in my womb that something very special is going to be born today. And it did. So within 24 hours, I returned back home, and the teaching of the womb mantra and Sri Kaleshwar came into my path through Becca B within that 24 hours. So I knew that was my activation, and I instantly know I want to do that womb mantra. I want to know everything there is about it. So in that moment, all the puzzle pieces, you know, the jigsaw pieces fell into place. And I knew this was not a coincidence. And the oil, the mantra, the activation on the cliff, the teachings, you know, it was the beginning of my new mission, a mission that is now finally taking form through these sacred oils with the womb mantra. And this is, the womb mantra completely transformed my life. In combination with working with the oils and all those repetition you do every day, you know, Om Dim Ram, Dim Ram, Dim Ram. That was the beginning of my new life. And I never did mantras before. So yeah, that was actually how I came into contact for the first time with the mantra.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I know, like, I was there with you for part of the journey, and I can only say, like, that it was so, so, so magical to be experiencing all of these things. Looking back at it now, you know, like, that rock of Aphrodite there, you know, like the Venusian connection that it holds, because when you were guided to work with the oils, it's especially Venus who started talking to you, who started to give you information about how the oils wanted to come through, what purpose they had, you know, like working with the womb space, actually connecting the elementals into it. Yeah, just looking back at it, it all makes so much sense, but we didn't know at the time.
Oh, we were at the phone for hours and hours every day.
Yeah, that's how excited we were. Well,
Yeah.
luckily it led here. Hey,
Oh,
if you
wow.
look at back at that process, what transformed you the most in that whole, like sequence of events that you went through, or with working with the womb mantra and with activating the elementals? What really stood out to you?
Well, how I did experience the womb mantra, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So at first, um, what stood out to me while I was learning about the womb mantra was that it would be as a task to bow for your parents, because that is one of the things you do the first 20, the 20,
One.
21 days. Yeah,
One.
21 days. So, and that's the mission, to feel a genuine love and appreciation for those first two donor cells, what Ashana Dean calls the Fabati cell in your tailbone, to feel the appreciation that you got that from your parents. And, you are really being asked to put, for some people, it is really being asked to put your ego aside and find the divine mother in everything. So that was that was something that really stood out for me, and I found it amazing to open my heart and to truly feel and understand the words that I was reciting in every cell of my body. That was really for me the practice, to open up completely, And if you, in the beginning, I was thinking, that was back in the days, but I thought, I just do this quickly in the car, or, but you completely missed the point. So over time, it became much, much easier. And actually, it brought a lot of insight, and that feeling of gratitude starting to expand to my grandparents when I was bowing for the picture, and then into a much bigger field, like the gratitude to all the way to the divine mother, to the planet, to everything, to our cosmos, to our solar system. So yeah, and the thing that stood out to me also was the people around me had to get used to that I was changing. I was changing right in front of them, but I was really changing right in front of myself. And honestly, what stood out that was that not everything in this process was fun, and it was raw, and it was deep, but it was exactly the transformation that I needed to grow into mastery. And some people are asking for healing, but really be careful what you ask for, because it is really transformation and it goes very deep. And yeah, I do want to say this clearly. You really need a professional guide or something, to do it in a group or to do it with a partner, because these processes go very deep, and don't do this in your own. And that was something that stood out for me, that I had you and I had the group, of course. And yeah, when I started combining the fire mantra with the womb mantra, something really shifted, and it felt like the beginning of a new version of me. And that was when I start giving the teachings about the sacred womb oils. So, I could manifest it. I stood in my power, and yeah, it was really a lot what was happening, really a new life. So, yeah. And
Beautiful.
yeah, when I look back at it, actually, it wasn't just one moment, it was an all layered process. And I've gone through the whole womb mantra journey multiple times. And each time I touched a deeper level. And in the beginning, it was mostly about the past. And I truly thought I had already worked through my family patterns, for instance, but the womb heals this also. It's a magnet, but it also helps you to cut off relationships that are not good for you. So the womb mantra showed me, there were still hidden knots in my system. And because I didn't fully see the knots in my system before, I didn't yet have true mastery over my womb, over the Nada Bindu. And I thought I had that because I could do samadhi, I could do the pranayamas. I did so much work before, but after the womb mantra, this also changed, and it started literally to dissolve and to burn old patterns through the fire, and of course to the womb. And yeah, and I'll be honest, that was very intense, and it meant letting go of unhealthy relationships that I held onto far too long, just like you experienced too. You were also holding on onto a very difficult relationship, and the real challenge of the womb mantra was to stay the observer of it all without attachment. And the moment I let go, of all those persons in my life, it was incredible intense, and it was also a sense of real freedom. And suddenly the light came into places in my body where I had forgotten there was still darkness. So yeah. And when everything became lighter into my womb, suddenly there was room for Sri Kaleshwar and the Divine Mother to start to take much bigger place in my life. So yeah, I felt supported in a way that I never had experienced before I truly met the mother.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. I think that goes for all three of us, that there's just such an amount of divine support and love and guidance and clarity and connection that has been restored inside of our lives. It's just like, everything that you've ever been looking for, everything
Yeah.
that you long for on the
Yeah.
inside without knowing what it is.
Yes,
Like,
exactly what you were saying. You are longing for something, you have done so much work before, and then suddenly you come across this mantra, and this mantra is so, so special. And especially when you combine it with the teachings of Becca and Ashana and the broader perspective, Anuhasi, and yeah, then it's so intense.
yeah, that's just beautiful. I think we're all guided, to working with the techniques, that really stand out. But from our understanding, these techniques have just stayed really, really, really pure. So we just want to practice and work with the techniques that have the least distortion in them, really, on the
Yeah.
earth right now. And these are just like very pure techniques to work with. So amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you talk about, like a mission and receiving that guidance and all of the stuff that you just mentioned, how do the womb oils actually relate to the womb work and to the womb mantra? Because I know that's where
Yeah.
it came together for you.
Yeah, that became very clear to me in Cyprus because I had a vision of Venus and where I was guided through all the signs of the zodiac. That was a beautiful vision, and I saw how the archetypes of the 13th sign were created in the cosmic womb of the Divine Mother. They're like mirrors for our growth through dimension, through the different layers in our bodies. And eventually, we are meant to rise above these zodiac signs and not to identify with them anymore. But how do you actually do that? So the vision that I had was so profound, and I cannot give words to it to describe it. So what I was shown that it's time to start working with the womb chakra to move beyond the personality and into the level of the soul. And the oils are, for me, in my life, in my personal experience, key in that process. And I received the guidance to create specific oils for each zodiac sign. So that's the 13 oils that all work together and the molecules all fit together, and it's a special program. And to use them to anoint yourself and to open the door to your heart and feel the vibration. And when I use it while singing the womb mantra, something beautiful happens. My heart truly opens, every cell vibrates, and for me it's very intense, and I like to anoint my mala with it. So yeah. And each oil has its own team helping you move through to grow and to process your daily life, like the womb mantra. So yeah, they are very important for me on a personal level to work with them together, and not to be not afraid of change, to trust the power of the divine, that's already inside you. Like Lewis said, don't work with too much with knowledge that is outside of you, but you find it inside of you. And that is something also that worked with the oils for me, together with the Divine Mother and the elementals, to work with that in this way. So yeah, the womb mantra is essential in this sacred oil, womb oil process. So this is also why I called them sacred womb oils, because it was within 24 hours that I knew what to do. It was and the womb mantra and the oils that came on my path. So yeah, they together they create a powerful path in mastery, the master everything.
Ah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Lewis, question to you, because Rachel just mentioned, working with the 13 zodiacal signs, and making the connection to the elements as well, them being carried inside of the womb oils. Could you expand on that for us a little bit?
Yeah, within basically we've got all these solar codes coming in, all these instruction codes, which is received by the body as information, and we want to align ourselves with the correct energy. So we don't want to be swimming against an energetic tide as such. So by using 13 sign astrology, which we use, which is the true sky sidereal, we actually align ourselves to the sky as it is at night rather than the tropical or western system. Now that has its uses for certain things, but it's not as accurate as the true sky sidereal. So yeah, when you align yourself with that energy coming in and you're using the spiritual tools at the same time, it just amplifies everything. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to amplify our consciousness to be able to ascend or expand ourselves. So every kind of tool you can use, every kind of tool you can layer on top of each other, all helps that process go smoother, goes faster, and yeah, you get results. And that's what we're here for. Essentially, we're here to transcend all these traumas, all these pains, all this negative emotion, because I think we all realize the world is changing pretty fast right now. In this last 5 years, there's been a big shift. And you're either going to get left behind, or you can kind of join the kind of what they call the new earth. I mean, it's one of those concepts, but it's a real thing. So yeah, you can either get left behind, or you can do something about your traumas and work with them in a conscious way. And that's what we're doing basically with all these spiritual technologies, the womb chakra, the elements, the oils, and kundalini, many other things. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Rachel, is there anything else that you want to mention about the womb oils still?
Yeah, I love actually that Lewis also mentioned Ophiuchus, because we are working with the 13 zodiac signs, and that's one of the most important zodiac signs that we work with the sacred womb oils also. So thank you. And what I want to share, well, if people are listening to this and feel ready to learn how to work with these 13 sacred oils together with the womb mantra and to speed up the process, and really ground into their mastery, then yeah, I've created a program where we go step by step through this transformation, and you can find all the information on my YouTube page. And yeah, I don't want to keep this wisdom for myself, so that's why I created something very special. And I take everybody who is open to work with oils and holds the remembrance and feels, guided to work with oils through the 13 zodiac signs. And yeah, I match the womb oil activation with every team. in every oil. So when you start this process, you will receive 13 free ceremonies and a detailed PDF where I guide you step by step to work, to learn how to anoint yourself, to work with sacred oils, to remember that, yeah, that Myrrophore lineage, the oil barriers lineage, you know, the priestesses lineage, and you will learn exactly how to use this oil and to open up deep layers within yourself while working with the womb mantra also. And it's my mission to bring this sacred knowledge back into the world, and a lot of is guided by Venus. And yeah, actually, my question is, are you ready to claim your mastery and experience and the power of the womb oils for yourself and the power of the womb mantra for yourself? Then yeah, it's so important to make this shift into your life and to really open up every fiber and to connect to that divine energy. So this is really my experience with the womb mantra. This is really my experience with the womb mantra and activating the elements. And yeah, I'm really changed. So I have a new foundation. I have a new blueprint. I really feel it. I'm not the same woman as I was 3-4 years ago. So yeah, that is everything I can share with the womb oils and the mantra.
Oh, thank you. Amazing. Yeah, I think it's just such a shared mission that we're on, and that's also why we are all receiving the same guidance individually, because it's really time, time for humanity to start clearing out their womb space, take action, and be guided towards the right material. So I hope this helps a little bit, sharing all of this also with the people outside of our own little bubble world that we're sometimes in. So thank you both so much. Love discussing this with you. I have a little quote of, I just will share my PowerPoint once again. I have some quotes of Swami Sri Kaleshwar that I thought were amazing to share just as a contemplation and, stay sharing. Here we go. And here you see him in the left-hand corner. This is one of his pictures in his younger years. I just really love the way that he looks, like so young and vibrant. And as he grew a little bit older, like he started to look a little different, obviously because he was doing such a lot of work for the world, and he was, because he held a direct connection to Mother Divine, he said that he was also taking on and helping purify a lot of the karmas for the people, in preparing them for meeting Mother Divine or preparing them in working with Mother Divine. So obviously that took a toll on him as well. But I just love this picture of him. And I just love him so much in general. So his words were, with the karma, the negativity channels, you have to have faith, believe, trust, surrender. Then it's only possible to gain something. Sri Kaleshwar. So what he actually said was he oftentimes talked about 3 stages of illusion. And I know in different parts of his teachings, he shared this in different ways. But one of the ways that he talked about this was in the 3 stages of illusion. And he's talking here about, going through the process of working with the womb, purifying the womb, working with any spiritual practice in general, I think. But this was definitely, or specifically talking about working with the sacred, the cosmic channels. So he says there's 3 stages. Just gonna see if I can make my little window here a little bit smaller because I can't read. No. Anyway, yeah, that's better. Okay, so he said, the first stage is you don't yet feel energy, but you stay with the process anyway. So this is part of the process where you are just being, you're throwing yourself in with blind trust. You don't know anything yet about what it is that you're going to do. You just make a full commitment to working with a master or working with the divine. and you actually enter into a process before you have any proof. So I think that's how all three of us, actually went in there, just deep dive into working with these materials, not knowing what they actually meant, right? So for them to realize that it actually becomes such a big part of your life that you never want to be be without them
Definitely.
anymore.
Yes. Yes.
Huh? And then he talks about the second stage of illusion. He says the second stage of illusion, you have to be careful with some steps. And I think also we all three experience that. Now things start happening. Energy begins to move. Experiences start. But illusion, the Maya, doubt, ego, and misinterpretation also increase. This stage is about stability and right handling of the energy. And then he also says in the second stage of illusion, you have to be careful with some steps. So all of this stuff is coming up in your life. You see all of your buried patterns and all of your things being brought to the surface. You're screaming, while all of that is happening, standing in the middle of all of it, and you don't really know what's going on, but you continue anyway. And then he says you move into the third stage of illusion. You have to develop it. Here you are. This is your real life. And that's when the channels become functional, where they're not only theoretical anymore, but where they actually start to show up in your everyday life. Your soul starts interacting with the cosmic energy, and experiences become repeatable and they become grounded. So where that second stage is very much still about, finding the grounding in everything that is changing and everything that is moving and everything that is clearing in your energetic systems. The third step is really about anchoring that energy in, like connecting the divine masculine to the divine feminine energies, the Shiva and the Shakti, divine mother and divine father. So I just wanted to share that with you still. Rachel, if people want to find you, where can they connect to you?
Well, I have my YouTube page that is underneath this this episode, and on my website sacredwomboils.com, or YouTube. My YouTube channel is also Sacred Womb Oils. So and there I have different playlists, and you can start with the playlist to create the Sacred Womb Oils. And there I also have sing the Sacred Womb mantra and all the different elemental mantras, so you can find it also over there.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, just to mention, guys, Rachel's doing all of this for free. So if you have any interest in, remembering about, the oils, about the Myrrophore tradition, integrating all of these practices, and this is just like such a big gift to humanity and such a big opportunity for us all to be purifying our channels. So thank you, Rachel, for putting that together and sharing that with the world, and
You're
doing
so
that
welcome.
selfishly, is that a word? Without emphasis on the self. So yeah, just amazing. Yeah, you really do. It's just such an example.
Yeah, well,
I
it
do
makes my
think
heart.
donations are always
Yeah.
welcome, so because you need to learn to accept as well.
Yeah,
Because you're
yeah,
sharing
definitely.
so much, so much. So
Yeah.
definitely. And Lewis, darling, would you want to share a little bit to end our call about, how we will be working with these materials as well, going forward in the future?
Yeah, well, there's a lot coming through for us at the minute of how we're going to start working with this. Again, we're going to be using the tropical astrology. We are going to be sharing all this information, all these tools at live events, at soul circles, Kundalini activations. There's lots of stuff coming up. We're just literally about over this next month or two going to start announcing more of practically where you can find us, where you can join us for these live events. But yeah, and stay tuned for the online presence coming soon. I mean, we've got our individual channels each, and you can find me at expressionsofalyssa.com, or search any of the social medias or YouTube at Expressions of Alyssa as well. And yeah, we're just really getting started. We're getting going now. We've got that passion kind of kicking us up the bum to just keep moving now. We've got the bit between our teeth, so we're going to start chucking a lot more material out, and yeah, share all this so we can all empower each other, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to say thank you to all of you guys as well for listening, for sticking with us for 2 hours as we just went on and went on. Thank you for spending some of your time, devoting your time to your spiritual growth. If you want to know more about the programs, check the description below. Please follow us, subscribe to our channels because we're very new, and love to see you soon.